everyone, it's Jamie, your crafty DIY guy, and I am back with a special episode of My Crafty Crib. That's right, I am going to be giving you a tour of my kitchen. I totally redid all of this myself, and I want to share with you how I did it. Hey guys, again, welcome to my home. This is my kitchen in my house that was built in 1947. It is 75 years old, and when I moved into it, the kitchen was partially renovated. Now, this side of the kitchen that you're looking at now was almost done. All of these cabinets are farmhouse kind of inspired. They're from IKEA. And, you know, for redoing a kitchen, especially on a budget, like this is a fantastic way to DIY. These are super easy to put together. So when I moved in, the appliances were here. The cabinets above the stove, these two here, this one here that's off camera, it's a tall, skinny one that I'll show you when I do a complete tour. The countertops, the lower parts, they were on this side of the kitchen. Now the other side looked like this. Kitchen, but also I wanted to figure out something to do on this side of the kitchen that really made it more kind of an industrial modern farmhouse, or my take at least on an industrial modern farmhouse. I knew I couldn't afford to replace this whole side of cabinetry in addition to doing something on this side. So honestly, I just went with it. The first thing that I did was I did add this cabinet here. There was not a cabinet here. You just had this open space. And so I thought, I need to do this. And this was the first one that I did. To be very honest, I hired my friend Ross. He came over, he installed it, he hung it for me, and then I realized how easy it was. And I started playing around with it. And when I did the other side of the kitchen, I did the assembly for the lower cabinets. And then I did call on him because you'll see when we get to the shelving and stuff that I put on that side, I wanted a professional because I didn't want it to fall down. This is a great camera angle, isn't it? But I did want to show you my very first DIY project when I moved into this house. Now, I created this pulley light, and what I did was, this is a decorative pulley that I bought on Amazon. It was only, I think it was like $12. And then I bought this corded rope. This is just the, you know, the normal kind of hanging rope lamp kit that you would buy. This is silk and this is twisted, and it was also really important for me to have this kind of on-off switch on here because, hello, I wanted it to be able to be a functional light. But all I literally did was wrap it around the wood spool, twined it around the loop, have the Edison bulb, which I think was like $6 or $7 by itself. And then you can kind of see back here, it is, and there's my duct tape that came apart because I pulled on it. But the wire just kind of runs along the window and then is tucked behind the cabinets here. My cabinets have a little bit of space behind them. And then the lamp is plugged into the outlet below. So now we're gonna get rid of this horrible angle and I'm gonna show you something else I did. Okay, the other thing that I did was they had a faucet in here that was, it was cute. It was from IKEA, it had a farmhouse kind of a look, it had these round knobs on it, but I wanted this kind of faucet because I think it's industrial. I think it's really cool looking. And again, I bought this one on Amazon for $120. And what was great about it is that my previous sink also had this similar setup. So I was able to literally just unhook the water lines, put this down through there, hook the water lines back up, and boom. Now I have this really cool industrial looking faucet. Okay, this is that before picture that you saw. Now, this side of the kitchen is completely done by me. I was able to go and match up the cabinets from IKEA. The countertops also from IKEA. This one is a little lighter than what you saw on the other side, only because this still is being treated. You have to treat this with mineral oil like once a week in order to get it about the same color. So that's a work in progress. But as you can see, this side needed to be super functional because it had to have lots of storage space. I did the shelving and stuff up above, which we'll talk about in a minute. I gotta breathe because I'm talking too fast. And then, you know, for the cabinets down here, I had about it was just about 60 inches total of space that I could use down here below. And I needed something that had a lot of storage. That's kind of all my cookware and everything that is in here, all my mixing bowls, all that kind of stuff. And believe it or not, this cabinet is actually empty. So like that one's really cool because I've got a lot of storage space in there. But when you assembled this and that one, they were actually like 48 inches. And I needed to be able to maximize every single bit of space. So I had this wine rack that I found on Etsy. It was unfinished. It was almost exactly the width that I needed because I still needed clearance to be able to open and close the door that goes out to the porch, which I'll show you in a minute. And that was literally a godsend that I found it. A friend of mine actually suggested, she was like, maybe you could find like a wine rack or something. And I was like, and I went to Google and Etsy and found it immediately. And it was expensive. I think it was like $100 bucks. But I went ahead and painted it to match everything here. And it works out great because I definitely like my wine. Now on top here, this is where the microwave, my tiered tray, this is a vintage bottle opener, like, you know, bringing in some of those elements. A cookbook from a restaurant called French Laundry that's in Napa that I went to recently. This was my great-grandmother's hand mixer. So, you know, I try to incorporate little things like that that are still super functional or still things that are decorative and fun to see. Cabinets that we just looked at below, this is what you see up above. Now, these pipes all came from Home Depot. They were in the pipe department, and you literally just buy the pieces that you think you need. If you go online, there's a lot of versions of this as well that you can buy that are already pre-done. I chose to do it this way. It was definitely expensive, but I needed something that was going to be solid and something that was going to be sturdy. The other thing that I did here that is not, it was something that I didn't know even existed. Home Depot has something called common board, and that's what this is. Common board is like plywood. It looks just like plywood. You can stain it, you can paint it, you can do everything to it, but it's just not as heavy as regular plywood. I was looking for something that would give me open shelving, that I could match up with the countertops, that I could stain, and that I could, you know, cut to the right size. And it kind of worked out perfectly. Not only is it sturdy and it's solid, but because you can paint it or stain it, I was able to get it to match pretty closely to this here. Now on the shelves themselves, there's a good mix of functional and decorative in here. You know, obviously your microwave, my Keurig, I've got my tiered tray from Dollar Spot, don't be jealous. This is kind of cool. I found this in a thrift store in Portland. It's a vintage bottle opener, so that's fun. And it actually does work still, so if I'm having a beer with friends, it's kind of cool to, you know, pull that out. Up above here, I needed storage for dishes, and I liked that kind of stacked look with the dishes. I needed canisters because it's got, you know, flour, sugar, coffee, etc. And I needed the countertops next to the stove to be as clear as possible because there's really not a whole lot of cabinet space there. The scale, that's my grandmother's scale, so that is super special to me, and I love having it in the house. Once again, wine glasses because, hello, I drink wine. I think you can see them up here. I don't know if they're off camera or not, but cookbooks, just a mix of my grandmother's cookbooks and then also just a mortar pedestal. I picked that up when I was traveling. Over here we've got a basket that gives just some texture to the space, but then the basket also has like extra Keurig pods, it has some napkins, it has some solo cups, like it has just stuff like that that's in there to be held. The poppy painting, I know a lot of people have seen that in videos in the past. That is actually a commission piece. My friend Alicia, who is an amazing artist, I'm trying to think of her Instagram name. I think it's B_sassy_art or bsassyart. Her name is Alicia Mintz, M-I-N-T-Z. Definitely check her out. She's got fantastic work. She's done a lot of work that you see sometimes in my craft room. And yeah, I love her work. So I wanted kind of a pop of color in here, and that worked out perfectly. The next thing I did was I did replace this light. Now this looks like a fan, but it actually is not a fan. This is an industrial light that I picked up on Amazon. It was $55. And the light before here was just the normal kind of kitchen light that you see up in the ceiling. When I took it down, obviously because the house is 75 years old, the light fixture had been up there forever. I did have to put that medallion up in order to cover up some of the hole that was created from the previous light, but I absolutely love the way this looks, and it gives off lots of light. One more treatment I did up here, if you're familiar with Savannah or Charleston, I went to college in Charleston, you understand what these metal stars are. Now, a lot of times the buildings were reinforced with the steel bars. The brick buildings downtown were reinforced with the steel bars because of earthquakes. And these medallions, metal medallions, were put on the end of those steel bars in order to be decorative and to look fancy. So I was able to pick up 3 of these. And I just like the way that they looked up there, and they're just hung up there with a simple nail. Hey guys, this side of my kitchen is also one of my favorites. I love this chalkboard. Now this chalkboard I did purchase, it was $25 I think. But what I love about this is that anytime I have a party or anytime I have an event, I always clean the chalkboard off, and then I have friends write messages. This particular one was when my mom came to visit, so it's a lot of messages to her. Nice to meet you. My friend Tom wrote, "Miss Lola, you fucking rock." So sorry for the language, but you're probably reading it back there anyway. The other thing that I have up at the top, and I try to coordinate this as well if I can, if it's like a friend's birthday, I put pictures along the top here. This is just some Dollar Tree twine with those little Dollar Tree clothespins. I built that, but now I see you can actually buy that in the new Crafter Square section, so get it if you want to do it. Save yourself $1. And it's just a mix of different photos. This, I don't know if you can tell from that side or not, but I'll actually pull it and bring it closer to the camera because it's pretty cool. And then you're gonna see my big butt and my big belly, but sorry. So when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle got married, I sent them a congratulations, wedding card. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, from Airmail, Kensington Palace, I received a thank you card from them. So that is super cool, and that always stays on my board all the time, with the exception of the time that it fell behind the refrigerator, and then I had to dig it out. The other thing that I did in the kitchen was I wanted to bring in this trash can. It's a plastic trash can. It was only $20, but it looks industrial. It looks super modern. You can see my tiered tray there in the corner that has just my cooking spices and my herbamar that you can only get in Canada, and some salt and some different spices that I kind of use on a regular basis. And then on the backsplash, I did go ahead and hang up some tools up there, just some utensils. The next thing I'm gonna do probably is a tile backsplash at some point. I don't think I'm gonna do that myself though. I think I'm gonna hire somebody for that. And now I'm just gonna wait for the money for that to come in, and we'll go from there. So I'm going to give you a quick roundabout tour of the whole kitchen. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe. And also, share my page with your friends.